Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Hope you stick around. It's gonna be a long video, but it's rather a simple customization of these two Ford Sierra Cosworth. If you live in the United States and you never heard of the Ford Sierra, that's because it was built by Ford Europe for that market on the other side of the world from 1986 to 1992. But what is Cosworth? Cosworth is a British automotive engineering company founded by Mike Costin and Keith Duckworth. So from both their last name, that's where the word Cosworth comes from. So it turns out that company made the most winning engine in F1 racing, and they were very successful when it came to racing. So they started out with Opel, I believe, and then Ford was the first company that contacted them to take an existing engine and modify it to give it more horsepower. So they also did a Ford Escort, which is very famous. The Ford Escort is also known for having that humongous wing in the back. Hot Wheels makes a Rally Escort, but it doesn't have the correct wing. Matchbox has a model with the correct wing, and so does Greenlight. Now this car right here is very funny because the most famous car was right-hand drive. It was the common car that you would find out on the street, and the car that was typically used to race. But the one that Hot Wheels make is left-hand drive. So what I was able to find is that they did make a few left-hand drive cars, but they were used by the Fordham Motorsport team as practice cars. And because they are over 25 years old, there are a few here in the United States. They've been able to import them here into the United States. So Cosworth basically worked with other companies similar to what Yamaha still does with Toyota. So a lot of the engines from Toyota, like the AE86, Toyota made the basic engine. They called in Yamaha, and that's how they created the AE86 engine, the twin cam engine, which the Sierra Cosworth 2.0 engine, the top bath cover looks very similar to the Toyota twin cam, but the Toyota is a 1.6 liter. The Sierra here is a 2.0. It had a top speed of 150 miles per hour, while the Toyota A86 had a top speed of 121 miles per hour, and that was only if you had the JDM original version. If you had the version that got here to the United States, it was less than that because it had about 14 less horsepower. So this Sierra had the same engine as the car that was raced, right? There was a special version called the RS200, which basically got a bigger turbo, and the engine had I don't remember if it was like 20 more horsepower. The car came with a extra rail of fuel injectors, right? But the ones that were used on the street, those fuel injectors were just there because the race car needed them. So they made this car to be sold out on the street just so they could get that quote needed. I think it was like 500 cars needed to be sold out on the street so they could race it. But the one that was street legal, that extra rail of fuel injectors was not used, and the computer cannot talk to those fuel injectors. You would have to change the chip on the computer and change a few things to get a RS 200 to function like the race car. But it's funny how it's all there. It just turned off. So you can see that I've been removing the tempo with the dry eraser markers. It doesn't matter the color. You just go slowly and wipe it down. I use baby wipes. And it took me about an hour and a half to complete these two cars. I cut the axle because I'm doing a wheel swap, and I did not want to, worry about the car rolling off the table. So I did a cheat here, masking off to paint the tail lights using some 3M tape of different sizes. Start out with a silver Sharpie as the base. And after removing the tempos, the surface remains, it's kind of sticky. So that's why I use the isopropyl alcohol to clean off any excess. And then I use that MacGyver's polishing, which is usually for plastic, but it does a great job. When you hear that squeaking sound, it means that it's very clean. You do have to be careful with the dry eraser, because if you go too hard on it, you'll start removing the paint. That's why I do a little bit at a time, then I clean off with the baby wipes, and then I go back at it again. I clean the tip of the marker, and then sometimes I just switch markers because I don't want the marker to dry out. I want to give it time to recover. To tell you the truth, I rather use enamel testers paint for the orange, but I don't have any. The problem with that is the paint goes bad after a while. Although the last one I had, it remained good for like 2-3 years. But since I don't use it every day, especially on a dark color car like this, the enamel orange, to me it looks a lot better. But this Vallejo acrylic orange works very nice. And the good thing about using acrylic paint is that if you have any paint running under the tape, it could easily be fixed with a toothpick, which we're gonna do it pretty soon. I had to look up a picture of a real Sierra to kind of see how the taillights look. So the Ford Sierra, like, I don't know if I mentioned it already, the Cosworth is the car with the best record in racing. No other car has won more races than this car. I was gonna weigh them to see how much they weigh, because sometimes with variations the weight is different, but I already cut the wheels off, so it's too late for that. Now for the red, I'm using this Vallejo Candy Red. Again, I could have used the Milwaukee Red Sharpie, which I like. I have also the Sharpie Oil Ink red, which is gives me a better color, but there's a division where the reverse light is, and I could have a better straighter line using this tool right here. Again, all the tools that I'm using, they will be listed down below if you're interested in picking up any of them. So no big rush here. You can see that I have not used a drill yet, and I'm not going to use a drill. I want to do a wool sup or a simple custom without using a drill. Sometimes it's just relaxing to do a car like this. But you should also learn from something like this about people trying to sell you maybe an error, and you can see how easily a blister can be opened. The wheels can be cut off. So like a wheel error is easily done. So be careful out there. If you're doing something like this for your own collection, then it's no problem. Or if you're gonna sell it, make sure you're honest and you tell the whoever's buying it that it's not an original error. So remove the paint. Don't wait too long to remove the paint, or the paint is gonna lift with the tape. Okay, so here you can see that I'm using the toothpick to remove the that little excess paint, and now we're gonna cover that up with Vallejo gloss varnish. Those two are kind of the same, but not really. The premium kind is watered down, so you could easily use it on a airbrush. That one I'm using is the old version. I'll list both of them down. And the bad thing about these clears is that it takes around 4 hours to dry. So I should have done the wheel set first and then do this last. But I try to be very careful not to touch it. So once that dries, you don't have to worry about the acrylic paint coming off. This also works if you do a regular custom and you leave the detailing so you could do it at the end after you clear coat it, which is a lot safer, because if you mess up, all you gotta do is use a toothpick to remove the excess paint. So now I'm gonna do the wheel sup. There's different ways you could do this. This axle system, you could get it on eBay. It's a three-piece system where it has a tube which is the same size as an original axle, and then it has a thinner end cap which has the head so the wheel doesn't fall off. So you have to put glue. I use Gorilla Gel glue. Like right now I already did one side. You can see the wheel doesn't fall off. So now you could just push it in, and on the other side put a little glue on the axle with the tire already installed, and that's it. Now the other option is you use a 1/16 drill bit, and you can use a pen vise. You don't have to use a drill. Drill in, and then you can use a 1/16 tube, and then use the original axles cut in half. The problem with that is that it's very difficult for you to drill in straight. So you might have a car that sits kind of crooked. What I'm gonna do here is I'm going to use these wheels here that already have axles. I'm going to cut them. Now remember, this is for me. This is no longer a toy. This is just going to sit. And I might pick it up every once in a while just to look at it. That's what collecting is all about. So I'm going to keep this simple. I cut it in half. Forgot to shake it. I put a little glue, or too much. Remove some of the excess. Now I'm using a set of 10 spokes. I have mismatched wheels, 10 spokes in the back and 8 spokes in the front. So that it doesn't really matter. The original car is rear wheel drive. You can see I installed it. I turned the wheel, making sure that it's not glued down to the base. But I'll show you a little bit more. Now I'm cutting off a little extra piece here just to make sure that the axles don't push the one that's already installed. This car has a wide chassis, so you don't really have to worry that much about it. Right now I'm not worried about the stands. You'll see how I do that later. Alright, so I'm doing the last one. Now the glue doesn't want to come off. I use something pointing to push the axle, making sure the axle is all the way in. And now I just let it be. And then I go around checking the tires, making sure they're not glued in place. Like that one, it was a little bit stuck. I keep moving it. That's the one I just did. You see how it was stuck? Now I just set it free. And now roll it, making sure that glue dries. It's making contact of the back of the rim with the base. That way it keeps rolling. So right now you can see the black. I already did the black, but the blue one, it's rolling a lot better. That's because it's higher off the ground. I want it to sit a little bit lower. So now the glue is, see, it's starting to set. I could just push the car down and play with the wheel, making sure they still aligned. And now I have a stance. Very simple. Simple and easy. Now in the future, if I want to do another wheel swap, I could just get like a flat tip screwdriver on the back, and I could just remove it and then do it all over again. You can see that they still have the original post. Let me put them back on the blister so you can see them back on the blister. Hopefully Hot Wheels makes the race version of this car with all the livery, because it does have a lot of history. And maybe a right-hand drive car. That'll be nice. So let me take a few pictures so you can see them. That's gonna be it, guys. Thank you for watching. Hope you like this video. Remember to subscribe, or at least hit the like button if you enjoy this method of doing a simple custom. Thank you for watching.